Zoom recording. The recording is in progress. I want to formally welcome everybody to the Edge4Vets program. We're very excited to start this in North Carolina. As you see below, this is Charlotte Douglas Airport leading that effort to bring us to North Carolina. This is the first example of Edge4Vets in the community, and I'll be sharing all the details of the program and how it works as we go along. But if you look up in the corner in the logo, this is really what the program is about. It's got, as you see, it's Edge4Vets is the name of the program, and the last word vets shows what we're about. And by the way, when I say vets, I'm talking about those who are transitioning service personnel. We're talking about National Guard, reservists, veterans, of course, spouses. Anybody who has served is somebody that we want to serve with this program. And the leadership of Charlotte Douglas Airport to provide that service for you. It has 4 parts to it, as you see up there, and I'm going to explain all of that and how those 4 parts work to support you. But really the first word up there is the key. The whole effort here is designed to give you an edge. If you've served the country, program wants to serve you to gain an edge to get hired, not just for a job, but a job that can lead to a career. So let me start by just highlighting that goal for you. As you see, the goal is very clear: to help you get a job that can lead to a career. But as you see also, we're not just looking to get you any job. We want to help you match your skills and interests to a job that can lead to a career and the life that you want. And really the reason that we do the program, I know some of us have talked already as we've prepared for this, but the real reason is that we recognize that when you've been in the service and now you've come out, very often you don't have a network. You've got enormous values and skills that we're going to talk about that make you desirable in the civilian sector, but very often you don't have that network to break in. And today, with everything being online, maybe you apply and you never hear back, etc. So Edge4Vets is designed to be a program to help you prepare by translating your skills, but then connecting you to decision makers for, as it says there, a job that can lead to a career. And another part of the reason is that we do the program is we recognize that it's very critical to get the job that can be the platform to the career. Otherwise, you need to work, you just take any job, but if that job does not match your skills and interests, then you're not going to be on a pathway to the life that you want. So I'm going to invite you all, and I'm very grateful for the broad support. We've got somewhere between 20 and 30 veterans participating with us in this cohort. And I would like you to, use this chance to work with us as we work with you to identify your skills and interests for that kind of job that can be the career that fits your passion. So that's our plan for you. As you see down below in blue, the program really breaks out into 2 parts: prep and connect. And think of it as bookends, really. On one side, you've got prep that we're going to be focused on today. And then there's going to be an online course that we're going to give you access to the work we do with the preparation piece today. You're going to get an online course in 2 weeks to work on that at your own pace, and then come back on 2 weeks from now to talk about the connection piece, which is learn about the job openings at the airport. And then because you've done the preparation, worked with us on the preparation, you're going to be in a position to work with the HR folks at the airport to match your skills and interests to the job opportunities. So that's what we're looking to do for you. Let me give you the agenda for today. Step 1, today, October 6th, is what we call the preparation piece. Again, the bookends. Think of Edge4Vets as a preparation component followed by an online course that we make available to you to watch videos, series of exercises, to take that preparation that we start today and to finalize it, to articulate what your skills and interests are. And then on the bookend on the other side is the connection piece, where we connect you to decision makers. And that also goes to why we do the course, because we recognize that in this day and age where everything is online, you know, the personal part can get leached out. So we seek to bring in the airport folks on the HR side to serve as partners with us. And today you're going to have a chance to meet them, to serve as partners with us. So when we do the preparation, the connection will lead you to a real person on the other end. That's going to be another value that you get from this. So step one, preparation, you see in blue. You're going to meet the HR team today, the folks that oversee the hiring process. We're going to get you started on your plan for success for that edge to get hired. And we really do believe that, you know, you work with us to create this plan, to identify what your skills and interests are, that it really will give you an edge to get hired. And we've done our research on this. Edge4Vets has been operating since 2011. 2,500 vets in 9 states have taken the program. And those who do the full program, we find up to 8 out of 10 do get jobs that lead them on their way. So that's our goal for you. But as you saw on our website, really at the top of the website, it says you got to get in the game. So if you get in the game today, which I'm grateful to so many of you for joining us, this is step one to get in the game, then we'll get you in the door. You're going to actually be connected to people who do the decision making. And then you see down below step 2, October 20th, going to bring you back 2 weeks from now. So the preparation phase is going to start today with our session, 90 minutes. We'll go quickly, but you're going to see how we get you started on your plan for success, then turn the keys over to you, and you can work at your own pace for the next 2 weeks. Watch the videos, do the exercises. I'll go into all the description of how that works, but that's going to really take you far down the field in terms of identifying what your skills are, what your interests are. And then we come back on October 20th to help you match those to the job openings that on October 20th, the folks from the HR department that you're going to meet today, they're going to lay out for you what the job opportunities are at the airport, how to apply, et cetera. And you, like I say, you're going to meet real people to do that. So again, Edge4Vets is a support program with a preparation and connection piece. The final note there you see at the bottom, I'm going to ask anybody who has not gone into the chat yet, if you will put your name and your email. This is going to allow us to keep in touch with you and keep you posted as we go along, because today really is the starting gun on our support for you. I'm going to start the preparation phase, turn the keys to the car over to you for 2 weeks, and then you're going to invite you back. And by the way, you'll use the same Zoom link that you did today to come back on October 20th. And there, for the 90 minutes, the airport's going to lay out the job opportunities, and we're going to talk about how you can match your skills and interests from your preparation phase to those job and opportunities. So in a nutshell, that's how it works. What I thought I would do is show you a quick video that gives you a sense. I've been talking about the 4 parts to Edge4Vets, where you get clarity on the kind of work that you want to do, which we call the vision statement. And then your asset that companies want that you can bring are your values and skills from the military. And then the 4th piece is an action plan to express those in civilian terms for that edge. So this is just a brief video that'll introduce that, and we'll talk about it on the other side.
Vets, you've served our country, now you're home and thinking about a job. But how often have you applied and never heard back? That can be frustrating. That's why we created Edge4Vets, to open the world for you. The Edge4Vets Workshop Series offers a unique system of prep and connect. We blend workshop training with one-on-one mentoring provided by business executives from our partner companies. Mentors participate with you in the translation process and help you become job ready. Then mentors show you how to build a network of contacts while HR reps from our partner companies connect you to job opportunities.
All of the people I've met here have had a remarkable experience and great development in their military service. Business is looking for people like this. What I think is what Edge4Vets does such a good job of helping people understand the translation from military experience into civilian experience, a way that they can think about civilian jobs that helps them understand where they would like to go, and then to be able to explain their skills and their experiences in a military setting and how important and valuable that can be to a civilian interviewer who maybe has no military experience, but understands how to value people with strong personal traits and a commitment to cause.
A facilitator leads the discussion and suggests topics. There are 4 key elements that make up the Edge4Vets curriculum. They are vision, values, skills, and action. Vision, step 1. Mentors help you get clear about the kind of work you want to do for the life that you want. Step 2, values. Mentors help you identify the values you developed in the military, values that can make you valuable to companies. Step 3, skills. Mentors help you gain clarity on the skills you developed in the military and help you develop confidence expressing those skills in civilian terms. Step 4, action. Mentors help you match your interests and skills to companies looking to hire vets. Vets say this blend of instruction and mentoring really works, and so do the mentors.
What Edge4Vets teaches you as a veteran is to take those skills that you've already obtained through 4, 5, 8 years of military service and translate them into terms that a civilian employer can actually understand, because you actually already have obtained the skills. And I think once you realize that, and that's a big part of the transition, is realizing that you do bring a lot of worth to the corporate sector. How do I tell my story? Not wrapped up in military jargon, in civilian terms that employer can understand.
Vets really have eye-opening experiences while they are at these mentoring sessions. I feel like they don't just get to meet other vets who are going through the same things that they are, but they also get to meet people in the business who are willing to help them.
Edge4Vets workshops are offered in New York, Massachusetts, and Florida, and we're expanding rapidly, so look for us in your area. Tap your leadership strengths for an edge in the jobs marketplace. Let Edge4Vets help you get the job you want and the career you want so you can have the life you want.
Okay, so as we said, we're very excited for this program at Charlotte International Airport because this is the first iteration of Edge4Vets in North Carolina. And as you see up above, the program supports veterans. I'm going to be saying vets, but that's really shorthand for veterans, the National Guard, the reservists, transitioning active duty. Whether you've been out for a while or you're just getting out, we help you. We help spouses. If you've served, then our intention is to serve you. And there's several ways that we do recruitment. If you think about it as Edge4Vets in the middle is a support program. And then you've got the pipeline piece where we get word out to you, and many of you have come to us through these recruitment partners, which include the airport's career page. The Edge4Vets is on the career page at the airport. The communications department at the airport does press releases and puts word out through social media, etc. So possibly that's how you heard about it. We're very pleased that we have a partnership with NC Works, which is the Department of Labor operation in the state, and they operate the career centers around the state. And they put word out, and not only do they do that, but many of them have joined us today. And I'm not sure if Gabriella is on the call. If Gabriella is there, Gabby, you can yourself. I would love to give you a chance to, to recognize you and talk about the role that NC Works plays to support veterans.
Yes, absolutely. Hey, everyone. This is Gabriela Gonzalez. I'm the Assistant Director for Veteran Employment Services. And what we do is we focus on our veterans transitioning military and military spouses to assist with employment services mitigate barriers to employment, and get them from point A to B. So we collaborate with a lot of constituents, nonprofits, other organizations, and we are very busy. And this is another opportunity to collaborate with, to get veterans into a field where actually skills are offered, and getting you into the actual position that you want to get into by connecting with the actual human resources and the employers. So I'm very excited about this. This is our first workshop today here in North Carolina for the Charlotte Airport, and I hope that we can expand throughout the other airports in North Carolina. So.
Well, thank you, Gabby. And yes, you know, the intention is to get the program going today. So everybody on the call is part of that leadership group to help you, but then you're also helping to get this program established. And then the intention is to work with our partners to continue to get word out, continue to get folks who are coming in for that kind of support. And then just underscoring, Gabby, your point that as you and your team, and I know you've got several folks from your NC Works team on the call today to learn what it is. But as you folks get word out, then we want to continue to grow the program so that the program can continue to grow and on an ongoing basis help vets connect to, again, I'll say it, jobs that can be a platform for a career. That's what we're all about. We want to get you on that platform. And then as you take the program, we're going to be circling you back. You know, NC Works has this wonderful assortment of counselors who can help you. So we're going to be connecting you back to them, to Gabby and her team, for additional support. So thank you, Gabby, for that. I just want to underscore, let me give a shout out to Walter Gillespie. Is Walter there? Unmute yourself 1 second, Walter. On behalf of all of your colleagues, you have just been a diehard all summer long working with us to get the word out. So I just want to do a shout out to Walter and just say hello, Walter, and just you know, underscore how important it is to help service personnel.
Hey, Tom, thanks for that that intro. Yeah, and thanks to everyone who couldn't make it that made it. Yeah, you know, looking at this program, it's a great opportunity for us to get the word out, one, to individuals who this can benefit greatly to. So I'm looking forward to see where we're going.
Well, thanks, Walter. And again, I wanted to give you a shout out on behalf of all of your colleagues. And I know we've got, you know, maybe a dozen of them with us today. So
Tom, can I mention something as well? We have the Hilton Honors program going on here in North Carolina too. So if you are traveling from other states or from city to city, you know, you can apply for the Honors Hilton program, and you can, with the points, you can travel and stay in a hotel for free. It's up to 100,000 points system. So well, check it out.
Yeah, that's great. And again, I want everybody, if you haven't done it yet, put your name and your email in the chat so that we can keep you apprised of developments like that. Continuing my shout out for the recruitment partners. Veterans Bridge Home is a partner with us. We work with various schools in the community. We work with USO, very grateful to USO. And I think some of you, the military people who've come to us today, National Guard and transitioning personnel have come to us through USO. So very grateful to them. I can tell you, you see Airports Council International. They are the association that represents all the airports in the country. And Edge4Vets serves as the official vehicle to work with ACI to help veterans in communities around airports get jobs. And again, underscoring Gabby, we're very excited that this is the first chance for us to do that in North Carolina. So many partners on that side. So as I said, Edge4Vets in the middle is a preparation piece, but on one end, you've got, as we just talked about, the recruitment piece or the sourcing piece that sends vets in. But then on the other side, on the connection piece, is the employer network. And in this case, the employer network is led by the airport department, the HR department at Charlotte Airport plays the role of our coordinator. And I'm very excited that when we do the workshop on October 20th and you come back, we're going to have actual hiring managers from the various divisions in there helping you take the preparation that you do here and match up to the job opportunities, which we'll talk about in that session. So I do want to give a shout out. I'm not sure if Natasha is there or Allison is on the call. If you can, say hello. Otherwise, I know we've got Jessica. I think Jessica is on the call. I'd like to give a shout out to the airport for your support.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jessica Alvarenga. We are very excited to be part of this program and provide some insight on our employment process and our positions. So this is very exciting and it's a phenomenal program and we are very proud to be part of this. Natasha and Allison will be joining a little later. So I know they're very excited as well. So we are here to support and answer any of your questions and I'm looking forward to the next steps.
What wonderful, Jessica, and I'm delighted to hear that. Actually, we don't. You know what I'm going to do, Jessica, if I can, is I'm going to make you a co-host for this, so that as people, from the department do join us, I'm going to make you a co-host so that you can admit them if they don't show up on my screen. And also, I invite you to, reach out to Natasha and Allison and just, let them make sure they have the link to get on. So if you could do that for us, I'd be grateful, because it's very critical for folks to understand that Edge4Vets is in the middle. And then we have, as we discussed, the sourcing piece in, but then also on the back end, the critical piece, which is the employer network. And Jessica, I'm grateful to you for joining us, because let me just introduce you to everybody. You're the recruiter on the inside within the HR department, and you're going to be working very closely with us on the back end. So today is the front end, bringing you in, giving you a comfort level on what the program is, how it works, getting you started on the preparation piece, introducing you to the 4-part plan for success and how we're going to turn the keys over to you for 2 weeks. Again, it's totally optional. Nobody's going to follow up, but we do give you access, free access to take that online course, identify what your skills and interests are, and then come back on the 20th. And as we connect you to the job HR folks at the airport, we're going to be working with Jessica to do personal follow-up with you. So again, the whole idea is we recognize that in this day and age where everything is done online, it's quite possible to apply for a job, maybe never hear back, fall in the cracks, etc. But here you're meeting Jessica, who's actually the recruiter, and you're getting the connection with the people who make the decisions. And we want to ensure that you get an edge to get hired and not fall in the cracks. Nobody can guarantee anybody a job, but we want to do everything in our power to tee it up for you and help you be successful. So saying that, let me just, and again, anybody who's been in the military, I know we have many veterans who are looking for jobs that have been in the military, but some of our folks at NC Works and at the airport who are on the call with us, you've been in the military as well. So if anybody would like to back me up on this point, I'm going to explain why we do Edge4Vets. People often ask, well, what's the purpose? Why somebody's in the service? Yeah, and they come out and they want to work in the civilian sector. Why do you need an Edge4Vets? And I'm going to suggest that the reason that Edge4Vets is important is because when you move from the military into the civilian sector, you're moving from one culture into another that we call we to I. And what I mean by that is in the military, as you know, everything is about team. Everything is about sublimating self for the mission and for team. And the whole culture is built around that. So you become very good at being a team member, but then you come out and you go into a civilian interview with an HR person who maybe has no military experience. And in that culture, and I don't mean I in a self-absorbed way. I more mean like you got to sell yourself. You have to go in and convince that person to say yes to you based on your strengths. And very often we find in the military, when you go from we into a culture where everything is about self, then support can help you take those strengths from the we phase, which are enormous, and we're going to talk about them in terms of values and skills, and translate those into currency where you can talk to a civilian interviewer in a way that expresses them and gets them excited to say yes to you. So the reason we do Edge4Vets is a support program, but I just would like to, if anybody wants to unmute themselves and back us up on that point, that very often moving from the military back into civilian life can have its challenges. Anybody want to back us up on that before we move on?
Yes, so let me elaborate on that. With my 10 years experience in the field serving veterans,
Great.
We came across a lot of challenges when they, especially just fresh out of the military and didn't know where to start. They didn't have a start point, even though they went maybe to the transition assistance program. But at that time, everybody, if you remember when you got out, you just wanted to get out. You did not pay attention to anything. So that was number one. So then number two was, where do I start? What do I want to do? Do I want to stay in the same MOS? Do I want to totally change? So I think with this Edge4Vets, that gives it a real edge to learn and focus just on veterans. Because when you're out, you are out and you're by yourself and you compete with everyone else. And some employers or organizations not necessarily focus on veterans, or they don't have any veterans initiative. So you're with everyone else applying for the same job. So how can you stand out? So with specific initiatives and programs and such as the Edge4Vets, they can give you that advantage of them focusing on veterans and what you as a veteran can offer them.
Wonderful, Gabby, because there's a lot of research, folks, that says that veterans have unique strengths, and we break these strengths down into the values and skills. You've developed them in the military as part of a team. You can work as a team. You have enormous skills, but the job becomes convincing the civilian interviewer that you can bring those forward and contribute to the company so that they will say yes to you. And as Gabby said, our intention with this support program is to help you gain an edge to do that. And I just put up on the screen the 4 parts to the plan for success. And you remember that I said Edge4Vets, the reason we have 4 is 4 means something. And what it means is that vision, we help you identify the kind of work you want to do for the career and life that you want. So what you're going to see after the session today, when I send you the link to the online course, and again, we just invite you to take it. It's up to you, but you can work at your own pace, watch the videos, do the exercises. The first thing that we're going to help you do is get clarity on the kind of work that you want to do for the career and the life that you want. Then the 2 middle boxes are the asset that you bring. And I can tell you, doing this program for 10 years, there are companies that covet veterans for what they say are leadership strengths. What we do in the online course is we break those leadership strengths down into the values you developed and the skills that you developed. And then the 4th part is we help you develop an action plan to express those. So you'll see in the online course, which I'll talk a little bit about, at the end before we break today, is you watch the videos, you type in the answers to all 4 of these boxes, boom, you hit submit at the end, and outprints a first-rate, highly professional plan that you can use as a platform and a basis for going into an interview to talk about your values and skills in civilian terms. So it is, the plan for success is, if you think about it, it is the guide for the translation process. So saying that, we also, and this is, we have a video on the website called Success Vets, vets who've done this program and have had success. And I'm not going to play the video for you now, but I will send you a link and I will guide you to the website where you can find it. But this fellow's name is Chris Mikado, and he's at Houston Airport. He was in the Air Force, and he came to Edge4Vets, and he was telling us how when he started in the Air Force, he started as a radio man. And over time, during his career, he, by the end, was overseeing a team of 121 IT people. So he moved all the way to overseeing an IT department with 121 people. And then he got out of the Air Force and he wanted a job. And you can see it in the video. He talks about it being a black hole. He was like applying online, never hearing back. He didn't have a network. He didn't know how to break in. And he took Edge4Vets, and we helped him gain that network, which you're going to be gaining through this program here in North Carolina. He took the program, like I said, in Houston, and got hired by the IT department, and now is really rising up and just, you know, he's got the enormous skills, but he had to be able to translate them so that the folks on the hiring side could see the contribution he could bring. So that's what we're going to do for you. And like I say, you can watch this success video, but many other vets have found the same thing, and we want that for you as well. So by the way, that's what it looks like in the online course. And you see one of our Jonah there holding up our Jonah holding up a sample of the plan for success. And again, I sent everybody a copy of the Edge4Vets workbook. You can look through today if you printed it out, take notes, etc. in the spaces. But you can use that workbook as your companion when you watch the videos and you do the exercises online. But the plan for success, you see it right there, has the 4 parts to it. When you answer the questions in each of the spaces, at the end you hit submit, and it prints out that really classy professional document that you then can take into an interview for an Edge. So that's our goal. That's, you know, I'm talking about the goal. That's our goal for you today. What I would like to do for the remainder of our time, and I invite any of our folks from NC Works or the airports to chip in on this, what I'd like to do is give you a taste, if you will, for our participants, give you a sample of the online course and how it works. As I said, it's a series of videos with exercises that follow behind it. And really the first, and I'm going to take 2 of the 4 today, the values and skills, which we break out as your leadership strengths, the things that make companies really want you. And we're going to talk about those today to give you a sense of how it works. And really the question for you, I'm going to play you the video that is in the online course. Then we're going to come back to it and have a discussion around the values that you developed in the military. No matter what branch you were in, you developed strong values. And to the extent that you can talk about how you carry those values forward in everything you do today, that's what you want to go into an interview and talk about. So let me play you the video and then we'll talk about it on the back end.
You don't have to be a military veteran to possess strong values, but chances are because you served in the Marines, Army, Navy, Air Force, or Coast Guard, your values run deep. Companies want to hire you for the military values that you can bring to their workplace. In this section, we'll help you create a values statement to show them just how valuable you can be. Go to your Edge4Vets workbook. There we've listed the values espoused by each branch in the military. Nobody needs to remind you of the values promoted by your branch, whether it's the 14 leadership traits of the Marines, Army's 7 core values, or the value statements espoused by the Air Force, Navy, or Coast Guard. But you need to reaffirm for yourself how strongly you are guided by these values, so you can make that known to job recruiters. To gain clarity, we'll ask you to read through the values from your branch and record in the workspace how these values remain important for you today. Secondly, we'll give you space to tell how you applied your values during your time in the military. And thirdly, we'll ask you to tell how your military values continue to serve as your foundation for action in your civilian life today. Then we give you space to create a values statement. That will add an ace of diamonds to your hand to sell yourself in an interview. You never wait to guess. You were true blue. Now that you have the need, it's time we do.
Okay, so let me go to the questions, and I'm going to open the floor to any veterans participating with us that want to chip in your thoughts. If we have any of our mentors, including folks from NC Works or the airport or any of our recruitment partners, chip in on your side. My question is this, and you saw in the video, by the way, the workbook that we give you breaks out the values of each of the branch. So no matter what branch you were in, each of them had a statement of the values for that branch. And as you all know, you inculcated those, it's part of the we phase, you inculcated those to such a strong extent, to the extent that you can get clarity on what those are. And we print them out for you in the workbook. But then online, we ask you to identify what values did you develop that are so strongly inculcated, that you inculcated them so strongly that they become a base that you act from for everything that you do. And you see where I'm going with this? This is what companies covet. And I'll have, when our HR team joins us, when Natasha and Allison join us, I'll have them underscore that point. Companies covet people who can bring values. And as you saw in the video, you don't necessarily have to have been in the military to have strong values. However, and this is what we've found over 10 years, because you're in the military, you inculcated these values to such a strong extent, whether it be integrity, initiative, whatever the selfless service, commitment, courage, what they are, but you inculcated them to such an extent that they are part of you now. And if you can go into an interview, and when that interviewer says, well, tell me about yourself, and you say, well, can I talk to you about the values I developed in the military? And the interviewer is always going to say, of course. And that opens the door for you then to talk about the values that you developed and how they are a strong part of you. And I can promise you, that's going to get any HR person in the world leaning forward and saying, this is a person we want to bring on board. And the whole goal is to get somebody to say yes to you, to give you the job and the career that you want. And all we're looking to do is tee it up for you. So what I wanted to do today before we break, and by the way, the online course that we're going to give you access to takes you through this whole process. Nobody's going to follow up. It's up to you to do it, but you can do it over the next 2 weeks and bring it in to the session on the 20th. What I'd like to do is just break the ice today by giving folks a comfort level with what it is, because this is what you want to talk about in an interview. You want to talk about your values. In a moment, we'll highlight the skills, but starting with the values, you want to talk about it in just regular terms. So I want to give folks practice today doing that. And if there's anybody, I was promised this is not a shy group. If there's anybody that wants to unmute any vet and just, give your answer to that question. What branch were you in? What values did you develop in that branch? And how are they a strong part of you today? Focus on the values piece first, not the skills piece, the values piece. Is there anybody on the call who would like to field that? I mean, I know we got like up to 20 vets on the call. I'm gonna invite you. This is your chance. And by the way, it's never easy just to sort of step forward. But this will be good practice. Anybody who wants to take the chance, and to prime the pump. Let me go to you, Walter. I know you were in the military. Let me go to you and give you a chance, or any of your NC work colleagues who've been in the military, a chance to identify how values you developed are so strong. Is that Michael Ragsdale? Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. So, Tom, I'll go ahead and start this off. My name is Michael Ragsdale. I work with NC Works. We down here help veterans, specifically disabled veterans, gain employment and overcome barriers into employment. So just to kind of get the ball rolling for myself, 23 years of military service, 17 of them active duty. For me coming into it, my family did a good job of instilling values and morals. But one of the things that I think was big for me as far as adding to and building on the 7 core values of the Army would be personal courage, because you can have a good moral compass, you can have honor, you can have duty, but if you don't possess the personal courage to stand up and right the wrongs or stand to the convictions and morals, whether it be a company, an enterprise, a group of friends, or the military itself, then you lack kind of a moral backbone to the rest of those 7 core values. So in probably presenting that before an HR group, that's one way I would package it, is how there are already morals there, but the military service helped expand on and cement those. And like you had said, Tom, would be a huge asset to any HR. Is there anybody that would like to expand on that or
Yeah, and,
counter?
yeah, I'd like to open the floor again. This is our chance to get comfortable with what the preparation process is seeking to do. We're trying to get you primed so that you can identify what your strengths are. In this case, your military values and skills. Get comfortable with the clarity, get clarity on them, and get comfortable expressing them just in normal terms, as Michael just did. I thought, Michael, you expressed it perfectly there. Your family inculcated it first, but then you went into the military, and the Army has the 7 core values. And this whole idea of personal courage, which is one of the 7, is something that you inculcated, and it really sticks with you. And if you can go, taking Michael's point, and you can go into an interview, and as Michael said, whatever value is true for you, but in Michael's case, personal courage is something he inculcated. If you can go into an interview and talk to the interviewer about how you developed it, examples of how you carried it out, examples of how it's true for you still, I promise you, you're going to get an HR person leaning forward. I mean, Jessica, you're there on the recruitment side. Part of what we're looking to do is to introduce our participants to folks on the hiring side. You want to just back us up, Jessica, on that point that somebody comes into you're a recruiter, and is talking in terms of values they can bring to the company, that's going to have you lean forward and listen. Do you want to just back me up on that point?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so definitely include your values, soft skills that can be translated into anything from integrity. I am sure all of our vets here know exactly what integrity is. Responsibility. You have to be responsible, right? And all of those soft skills can definitely be applied to any of our positions here. I mean, just thinking about the overall industry in aviation, I mean, this is a very fast-paced environment. So you have to act quickly, right? So all of those things. So definitely think about all of that. I'm not sure if Natasha and Allison had the opportunity to join just yet, but I definitely wanted them to kind of add to that if they are on the call.
Yeah, I don't see them yet in the room. When they do join, I'll let them know, and they can just jump into the conversation. But thank you, Jessica, and thank you, Michael, for teeing us up. I want to move on to the skills that you developed and how you can express those successfully in an interview. But before we move on to the values, is there anybody on the vet side, on the participant side, who, as Michael said, he was in the Army and personal courage was a value that he developed? Is there anybody who wants to just share with the group your answer to that?
I had my hand up. I don't know if you can see or hear me.
I didn't see it, Felicia, but please go ahead.
Okay. So I'm jumping right behind Michael. And I was Army for 20 years and came out of the military, and I still realize that I'm still serving. That selfless service is still in place. I'm serving. Pretty much all of the jobs I've taken or the volunteerism or whatever I've done has been through selfless service. It's been always to a certain capacity. And also when I think of honor and integrity, I look at them as two twins. They're kind of like those lines that we draw on the sand, because we know we're not going to cross a certain line. We know we're going to do the right things right because it's right. And when I think of personal courage, I realize that from my military service and from these values, I'm pretty much fearless. I'm courageous. I meet or I try to exceed the goals, the personal goals and the professional goals that I set for myself. And I think that's all a part of my military training and career.
Wonderful, Felicia. And I would urge anybody on the call, Felicia, don't change a word of that. When you go into an interview, don't change a word. What I particularly liked in what you said, and I just took it as a note, is that, you're out of the Army, but you always do what's right, because really what doing what's right is integrity, but integrity means doing right when nobody's looking. You're just doing it because it's in you to do the right thing. And so I thought you expressed it perfectly, and again, I would encourage you, go into an interview and talk about it that way in your own words. And you can also add examples of, well, when I was in the Army, here's an example of where I carried out that integrity. Nobody was looking and I was presented with a challenge, and, I chose the right thing even though nobody was looking. The more that you can add like stories to how you develop these values, the stronger you're going to do in an interview. And again, the whole purpose with Edge4Vets is to help you get somebody to say yes to you on the other end. We're going to help you get clarity on where you want to aim. You've got unique skills, but where do you want to aim? What kind of work do you want to do for the career and the life that you want? And we want to get you on that path. But once you get clarity on where you want to aim, then you have to succeed in the interview. And what we're doing now is just a little warm up, because after the session, I'm going to be giving you all access to the online course where you can watch these videos and do the exercises to gain that comfort level on succeeding in an interview. So Felicia, thank you. Let me go to the next section, which is the skills. And again, I said I want to spend the remaining time we have today getting you comfortable on the preparation piece before we do the connection piece. And I can promise you that there's no interview you will ever go to where you will not be asked about your skills. The truth is, and all the research supports this, folks who've been in the military have, and what the research calls it, is unique skills. You have skills that you developed that make you unique. The key is identify what they are and be able to talk about them in civilian terms. Now, when I say civilian terms, what I'm talking about is talk about them in terms of what you got good at. So I thought what I would do is tee that up with a video, and then I'm going to open the floor again. So as you watch this video, if there are any vets who want to talk about the branch you were in and skills that you developed, we would be eager to hear you. But let me play the video for you as a warm up for that.
Imagine this, an interviewer asks you about your skills and you say, my MOS was AMS. I graduated in the top 5% in the military school, including PLDC. I represented my unit at the NCO boards, throwing in every bit of jargon you can muster, and you get this. That's the look of a mile-wide gap opening between you and the dream job you've been working so hard to land. But all is not lost. In this video, we'll show you how to do what business leaders say you need to do most, and that is translate your military skills into language for the civilian workplace. Here's a comment from a business leader at McKinsey. Companies want strong change leaders, people who can lead by example. But there's one problem for companies. How do we find leaders with these skills? You can be the answer to that question, but you have to show companies that you have the skills that they need. There are 3 steps to translate your military skills into tools for civilian success. First, identify duties you had in the military. You had many, but list 3 that stand out. For example, if your MOS, as shown above, was AMS, Aviation Maintenance Service, your duties might have included 1, keeping meticulous records, 2, amassing knowledge, 3, reporting on a regular basis. Next, list 3 things you got good at in a technical way as you carried out your duties. You might say 1, highly organized, 2, data collection, 3, sharp analysis. In addition to technical skills, you developed intangible skills, and you want to talk about them as well. We work with 4 intangible skills in Edge4Vets called resiliency strengths. They are adaptability, engagement, optimism, and proaction. We'll ask you to list ways you got good at being resilient. For example, you might say, adaptable, I learned how to adjust on the spot. Engagement, team player. Optimism, keeping myself up. Proaction, when I saw a problem, I acted. Again, we give you a worksheet to record your experiences and break out your own technical and tangible skills to create a skills statement. Once you do that, you will put another ace in your hand. Your skills statement is your ace of clubs. With each step, you're upping your chances to ace your interview. And that's our goal for you.
Okay, so there you see, you're never going to go to an interview where you won't be asked about your skills. And our intention here is to put cards in your hand so you have some very strong cards that you can go in and sell yourself to get that person to say yes. And I'm telling you, if you can identify the unique skills that you developed in the military, meaning what you got really good at, and you can just talk about it in conversational language, no jargon, etc., you're going to succeed in that interview, and that's our intention for you. So what I'd like to do is give anybody on the vet side a chance to talk about what branch you were in, what your MOS was, but more than that, I want to hear what duties did you have in the military, and what did you get good at carrying out the duties? Because that's how you translate. You look for the transferable skills. And I'll just tee it up by saying, I can't tell you how many infantrymen that I've had in Edge4Vets over 10 years who've come in and said, I was an infantryman in Afghanistan. Nobody's hiring infantrymen. I don't know, my skills. I don't know what do I talk about? What am I good at? I know I'm good, but what do I talk about in an interview? And what we do in the case with that person, and what we've done is get them to identify the transferable skills, meaning look at, okay, you were an infantryman, but what duties did you have off of that? And it might have been, to go out and reconnoiter on the roads and keep, a record of where suspicious items were. So right away you're into the analysis and you've got record keeping, and that becomes part of your transferable skill set. So the other thing is maybe you had to communicate, you had to get others to work with you to do that reconnoitering as an infantryman. And that communication becomes a transferable skill. Because if you can go into an interview and say, I had 6 people in my unit and I had to make sure everybody was on the same page with what the assignment was, that's a communication skill that you want to talk about in the interview, because that's going to get the interviewer, who maybe has no military experience and doesn't understand infantry, but does understand communication, they're going to lean forward and say, yeah, that's what our company needs. We need somebody who can get 6 people on the same page. So, I'm putting a focus on this, folks, because this is so really critical for you to get a handle on. What did you get good at? And, what were your duties and what did you get good at carrying out the duties? So I'll open up the floor and give anybody a chance who wants to talk about the skills that you developed. Anybody want to field that?
I'd like to see if I can take a shot at that, if that's okay.
Great. Who is this, Ellis?
No, Matt Hutch.
Oh, Matt. All right. Okay, Matt, go ahead.
So I think it's great that you've partnered with ACI North I think it's fantastic that you've found opportunities within the airport career field to be able to give veterans an opportunity to participate. Aviation, there's a lot of transferable skills with aviation. However, there's a lot of non-transferable skills I found through my market analysis and interview process. And this actually would probably go to Jessica here. Some of those non-transferable skills are skills that veterans don't have, but who have 20 years of very adaptable experience, would be Part 139 experience. Another one would be emergency management experience, where people who are in the military may not have direct experience working with police, fire, etc. So where there is transferable skills and there is the ability to adapt and engage in compliance, because the FAA has a lot of compliance that's required for Part 139. I've got an aviation business degree and I've got an airport management minor. However, I don't have the specific Part 139 experience. And for a lot of the career trajectory that I would like to go into, that look for specifics that might be applicable to the FAA, but I cannot, with integrity, transfer those over exactly. And it's because integrity is important to me. I can't say specifically I've got 139 experience, etc. So with that, I'll go ahead and lower my hand.
No, you're absolutely right. You can't say it if you don't have it. But let me break it down into the components that you brought up. You talked about, first of all, what branch were you in? Air Force, did you say?
Yeah.
Okay. And what duties did you have? Let's talk the transferable skills first. What duties did you have, and what did you get really good at?
So I'm involved in aviation. I'm an air crew member, and I have standardization and evaluation background. So compliance is very near and dear to my heart. But from a leadership standpoint, the things that are transferable from there is I have I'm a little bit different than typical military folks. I'm more of a bottom up kind of individual. I'm not a top down kind of individual. I'm less directive and more focused on cultivating a culture and cultivating an environment where everybody's motivated to be a contributing individual. So where I have differences, there are some things that I can adapt. So I'm not necessarily referring to transitional skills. I'm more referring to specific skills that I see historically on those jobs boards for AAAE or for ACI North, et cetera, that I may not have applicable skills, but I have a business degree and an airport management degree that can apply towards some of that.
Yeah, no, and I mean, situations such as yours do come up, and I'd be happy to work with you offline on some of those specifics and how you can bring great value, but what you're talking about is maybe some missing boxes in that
Right.
that make you totally outstanding. I'd be very happy to work with you offline on those missing pieces for you specifically. I do want to explore this idea of being a crew member though, and as you said, compliance was very near and dear to you. I would love to hear you talk about what kind of compliance that you had to do when you were in the Air Force. What were some of the compliance issues you had to deal with?
So without getting into too much detail, some of the things that are important to me is making sure operational standards match with the warnings, cautions, and notes associated with equipment that we utilize. So, and then also making sure that security management is maintained as well. So making sure that everybody's motivated to abide by security protocols and other warnings, cautions, and notes, et cetera, that are very important to abide by. Those things are important to me, but I know that the FAA comes in and does inspections on airports. And I may not know all of the factors associated with the inspections that the FAA goes through, but because compliance is very near and dear to me, my goal is to merge operations with compliance so that it exceeds the FAA standards or exceeds any other organization standards.
Yeah, no, I think it's absolutely great, and so there's work to do, and I'm hearing you, and I want to work with you offline specifically on getting that remedied, okay? But
Right.
what you're saying is you're saying some very important things for the group here. And what, as each person speaks, everybody's listening, but I want everybody to be thinking, for themselves, how what that person is saying applies to them. So were you really hitting some notes, Matt, that I think can be useful for everybody as we talk about skills? Because remember, skills are, what branch were you in? What duties did you have? What did you get good at carrying them out? And as I listened to you on compliance, as you said, compliance was your area. You were, an expert in compliance, or you chose to be really focused on that. You said security management. I mean, if you can go into an interview, and I say this for you, Matt, but also for anybody listening, to think about what duties you had and got good at. In your case, it's security management. If you can go in and talk to an interviewer about how you were so good at security management and give them details and examples of how you carried out that security management and how you carried out overseeing a team to do it, et cetera, you're going to get that person leaning forward, because especially in an airport today, and I think Allison just joined us, especially in an airport today, security is so critical, so critical in all companies, but certainly in aviation. And so you're bringing something to this conversation, Matt, that I'm very grateful for, because as people listen to you, they're able to key off that into their own world. In your case, it's security management, but somebody else, it might be, supply chain. You mean, I had to oversee supplies for a battalion of 400 people, and that was worth $2.1 million. And I was responsible for that. And I was only 22 when I had that. You hear what I'm saying? There are duties that you had that make you unique, but the job is to go like a miner and dig down and get them and bring them forward. And what you've done, Matt, for us, and I'm grateful, is you've highlighted in this area of compliance for you, but others listening to you are like applying it to them, which is what we want them to do. And so, the security management piece is critical. And I think Natasha joined us as well, who's the head of HR. Natasha and Allison, if you want to weigh in on, Matt has an issue, and Natasha and Allison and Matt, I'm going to, follow up with all of you on some of Matt's questions about some of these other issues, 139, et cetera. But Matt, I want to talk about what you absolutely have now that is relatable to everybody on the call. And Allison and Natasha, if you want to just back us up on this point, that Matt has things he got really good at in the security management area. Tell us how you're on the hiring side. Tell us on how that can make a candidate attractive to an airport.
Okay, sorry. Well, first, allow me to introduce myself. And I'm sorry that we've joined a little bit late. So we're just now coming into the conversation. But as Tom shared, my name is Natasha Jeffries. I am the Organizational and Talent Development Director at Charlotte Douglas International Airport. And we've also got Allison Mitchell on the call as well, and I'm sure she'll introduce herself in a few minutes. But I think as it relates to security, the little bit that I heard, I mean, that's first and foremost at the top of all of our hiring managers' thought on any given day. So that is a skill. If you have that level of experience, that is something that we would certainly look for in a security level type position. So that's very much so transferable as far as I'm concerned, without, of course, looking at the resume and having some additional conversations. Just the little bit that I heard, if you have that level of experience, we would certainly be looking for someone such as yourself.
Yeah, and Natasha, I just, thank you for introducing yourself. I gave a little bit of background on you at the start of the program when I told folks that, one of the values that Edge4Vets seeks to bring is, in this day and age where people can apply online and fall through the cracks and never hear back, et cetera, they're getting connected. Participants in our program are getting connected to the folks who oversee the HR department. And you are the person who oversees the HR department, and then Allison is on your team, and Jessica on your team, et cetera. But I'm very grateful to you and your busy day for being able to break away and join us for a bit. And if I could give just a moment for Allison to say hello to, to our group, and just, quickly, Allison, introduce yourself. I'm going to be working with you over the next 2 weeks while the vets work on their plan for success. I'm going to be working with you folks to tee it up for October 20th, so that we're going to come in with a presentation on the various job openings and how people can apply for them. But Allison, if you could just, give a brief welcome from your side as the coordinator for the program.
Yes, can everyone hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. And my apologies as well, we were in another meeting, but I want to thank everybody for attending the meeting today, and really a big thank you to Tom as well for organizing this. Like Tom said, I am Allison Mitchell, the Workforce Development and Outreach Manager. I also wanted to give an opportunity for Jessica, and I think Miriam is on the call. There are 2 of our recruiters to also introduce themselves, but we will be assisting and helping with this program as well. So really looking forward to working with you all, getting to know you a little bit better, and really excited for the partnership. So thank you. But I do want to give Jessica an opportunity to introduce herself. And if Miriam is still on the call as well, I know she had to go to another meeting, but if they're on the call, if they could please introduce themselves as well.
Allison, we've been working with Jessica while we're waiting for you. So folks already know Jessica. Did you say somebody else from the recruiting team has joined us?
Perfect. That's wonderful. So y'all had an opportunity to talk with Jessica. I think, is Miriam on the call as well? She may have stepped off. I know she had another meeting.
Well, now that we have you and Natasha here, let me skip ahead to the next open discussion I'd like to have. What we've been talking about is how vets can take their values and their skills and express them in a way that is their own words, that they can go into an interview, and the plan for success gives them a chance to get clarity on that and practice that, and then be able to take that plan for success into an interview for an Edge. But what I'd like to do is, now that you're on the call, is point a little bit down the road. On October 20th, we're going to come back and we're going to lay out for everybody the job opportunities that exist now, that you anticipate opening, the process for applying, et cetera. We're going to deal with that on October 20th. But I'd like you to, and Natasha as well, if you'd like, is just in general terms for our folks. You see up there, it says, what are some of the job opportunities at the airport? Aviation is building back after the pandemic. Aviation got hit hard in the pandemic. A lot of layoffs occurred, but now aviation, people are traveling again. Aviation is looking to build back. So there are many job opportunities that exist. And if just for a moment before we move on, if you and Natasha would just like to underscore that, that would be very helpful.
Yes, so you're right. We have a variety of jobs. I think what's important to note is a lot of times when we are out with our community members promoting our jobs, a lot of people think that it's just like a pilot or a flight attendant. And of course, those jobs are very critical and essential and needed. But the uniqueness about our department is that we are a city entity. So we are employees of the city of Charlotte. And under that, the city owns and operates the airport. And we have a variety of positions, from finance to human resources to our facilities groups, which is our labor and trade. So that is anything from HVAC to a plumber to an electrician, not only within the terminal, but also within airfield lighting within the airfield. We have development, which includes engineers, architects, and planners. So we have a little bit of everything, including security as well within our operations team. So we're kind of a city within a city. That is something that we always share. So any background or interest that you may have, or previous work experience that you're bringing to our organization is value add and needed. So we encourage you to look on our City of Charlotte job board, and we will be following up with you all as well in the coming weeks regarding that information as well. And I think someone dropped in the chat their virtual business card. So I really appreciate that from Matt. So thank you. If there's others, you can feel free to send it to us as well. Thank you.
You know, Allison, that's a good point about the link to the career page. What I'm going to do after this is give everybody access to the online course so they can go through and create a vision statement, a value statement, a skill statement, and an action plan for themselves that will personalize their strengths in advance of seeking to match up to the jobs that we talk about on October 20th. But I like your idea about maybe what I can do also work with you to give folks an advanced look at that career page and an advanced look at what some of those jobs are, so that as they look through their strengths, and we're going to be talking about it on October 20th, how do those strengths match up with the opportunities? I like your idea about giving folks a heads up on what some of those opportunities are, because you're absolutely right. An airport is a city within a city that has a full range of categories, from operations to IT to business to ground transportation. Every kind of imaginable job possibility exists at an airport. And that's what we're going to focus on October 20th, after folks do the prep to get clarity on what the strengths they can bring. Then we'll seek to do the matching up. But I like the idea of giving folks a heads up. And we've got a good solid 20 folks in our cohort. So going to be a lot of talent in this cohort to match up. What I'd like to do before we break today, because we're getting close to the end, is I'd like somebody from NC Works or somebody, one of our vet participants, I'd love for you to share, see down below, it says group. I'd love you to share what values and skills that you developed in the military and how they might match up with job opportunities, how you might apply them in the aviation area, where your interest to do that might come from. I see Hoover is looking with hands up. Anybody want to field that question? What kind of work might you want to do at an airport? You, meaning, with your specific skills and interests. What interests you at an airport? Is that Aaron? I see your hand up. Go ahead, Aaron.
Hey, how's everyone doing? Active duty Army. Actually have one final day before I become a full-fledged civilian as of tomorrow. So at an airport, I absolutely do want to do the pilot route. So that option that you were discussing with everyone thinks at airport you have pilots and flight attendants. Well, I absolutely do want to become a commercial pilot, and I have the plan and the route of the next 2 years that will get me there. But there are plenty of skills that I have developed because I was an NCO in the Army and I got selected to be a pilot for the Army. But there are skills that I learned from the NCO side that do translate over.
Okay, Aaron, not to interrupt, but can you focus on some of those for the group? And as you talk about the skills that you develop, I see where you want to aim it, but go to the skills that you develop in the military, and how those skills are something that you value greatly, and you want to bring those forward. And then our group can listen to you talk about skills that you developed. You want to field that? Just talk about your skills for a minute.
Yeah, I was in supervisory positions in operations, so I learned a lot of improvisation, tons of critical thinking, problem solving. But the best being in that supervisory position was taking individual skills, delegation, and knowing their own skills and abilities to be able to accomplish the goal and task at hand. So,
by the way, look, can I ask you just a question? How old were you when you entered the military?
I was 20 years old.
I asked it without knowing, but having a hunch. And I'm sure it's true for everybody on this call that you went into the military, very young, but at a very young age, you were given these responsibilities. Because what I'm hearing from you, Aaron, is you got skillful, but you got skillful because you were given these responsibilities, supervisory and the whole ball of wax, and you got good carrying them out. But very often, you had to figure it out, I'm sure, along the way. If you're only 20 and they're foisting responsibility onto you, one of the skills that you develop, folks, and I would encourage you to talk about this in an interview, one of the skills that you develop is that at a very young age, you were given responsibility, oftentimes for very expensive equipment. and yet you had to figure out how to do it. You had to get good at it. And then very often they gave you people to manage. So you got good at communicating, you got good at management. And see how what I'm trying to bring forth here is that the skills are there. Aaron, you were fabulous talking about the supervisory skill. But what I'm going to suggest is for you and everybody else, when you go into the interview, go back to when you started, what they are, first of all, as you did perfectly, but then go and identify how you developed them and then, how you can carry them forward. So is, I see, Ellis, do you have, somebody has their hand up and Ann has hand up. I want to give anybody wants a chance to talk. Ann, I think you had your hand up first. Do you want to just talk about, the kind of work that you would like to do at an airport?
Okay. Yes. Having served in the Army and as a leader, my biggest pet peeve is the fact that, the service that you get, I like operations and being able to direct people into giving great service. I was a training officer for a while. So I was able to train, people that were under me, and it's just giving out the same thing you want back to you. I'm the type of person, for as service is concerned, treating people the way you want to be treated, whether it's going through an airport, or any other type of job. I've been in management for the last 30, 40 years and worked for the government for a number of years after being, out of the military. Most of those were temp jobs that they had us on for a year and they closed out.
I see you cut out here, but let me just underscore, Ann, please don't change a word of that. Bring that to
their jobs, giving them the auth of the.
Yeah, again, you cut out there, Ann, but let me just say, I just want to underscore, bring all that with you to when we talk about the job opportunities and how your skills match up, because this idea of doing for the other person that you want them to do for you, it really comes down to customer service. It comes down to meeting need from the other person's point of view. And if you can talk about your experience in the Army and in the military and how you developed that ability to see need from the other point of view and develop respect for other people, that translates into customer service. That is the translatable skill. And I can promise you, you go into an interview and the HR people are going to lean forward around customer service. So thank you for that. And Ellis, I want to give everybody a chance. Ellis, do you want to just share what kind of jobs appeal to you in aviation?
Yes, good afternoon. I'm Ellis Williams. 23 years in the military, 13 years as an infantry Marine, and 10 years in the Air Force. I worked in a myriad of jobs. I was a successful career, recruiter for the Marine Corps. I was also an instructor for the Marine Corps, teaching the tow weapon system to newly made Marines. In the Air Force, I worked in transportation, and I worked with the dangerous goods section. I've learned how to cross-reference information to transport items, anything other than normal transportation, learning how to read the IATA, learning how to understand the CFR, the Code of Federal Regulations, and the dangerous goods manuals. And that's the extent. Me, myself, I feel that I'm a clear communicator, and I wouldn't mind working in the customer service field.
Well, I tell you, I wouldn't change a word of it, Ellis, when you go into an interview, because you're spot on. And please, when you, over the next 2 weeks, as you work on your plan for success, it's going to allow you to refine that into a vision statement that we're going to talk about next week. And when you go into the interview, to have clarity, yes, on your strengths as you do, but clarity also on how you want to aim them, investigate the various jobs that exist where you can apply them. That's what we're going to be working with you on down the stretch here. So thank you for that. Let me do one more before we wrap up. I see Jacob has his hands up. Jacob, do you want to just share? You heard Allison talk about how an airport is a city within a city. You want to just talk about some of the ways you might like to apply your military skills to work in this industry?
Yeah, so my name is Jacob Peterson, and I was in the Marine Corps for 9 years as a military police officer. And during that time period, I moved within that field to something known as physical security specialist. So I controlled basically all the security cameras and the security equipment on the base, as well made sure that any important buildings on the premises were actually within a federal code of where they needed to be for security standards. So, and that would be something that I'm kind of looking at for as far as at the airport, as well as kind of getting back into that field and applying my skills I learned in the Marine Corps and applied myself with those skills for so many years. I was also an instructor for TSA agents while I was active duty for terrorism awareness and for like security searches and conduct and stuff like that. So that somewhere within that type of field is kind of what I was looking at for that.
Jacob, I love it. And, you know, again, I'm going to urge you, as I did with Ellis, and I'm going to urge everybody on the call, what we're going to do in the plan for success. I'm going to give you access. You're going to watch videos and do exercises. What I would encourage you to do, Jacob, is just like really, you know, refine that skill set that you developed and be able to express it in a way that somebody who maybe, you know, has not been in the military can understand the great value that you can bring. So you're going to get a chance to do that. This is the online course. I thought what I would do is just play this before we break, but I'm going to send you a link. And we made a little like 2-minute clip that shows how the online course works. So you're going to get this from us, you know, within the next 24 hours, and then you're going to have 2 weeks at your own pace to work on it. But this is what it looks like.
Hi, I'm on.
Can I ask you a question, please, Tom?
I'm interested in the Edge4Vets course, but I wasn't sure if it was the right fit for me. Let's take a short walkthrough so you can see how easy it is to do. For me, it started with the welcome email. There are 2 versions of the course, the short version, if you've taken the Edge4Vets workshop, or the full path for a deeper dive. You'll scroll to the bottom for the login link. To register, I just have to add a password, my name, military branch, if I'm in school, and my phone number. The other stuff is just optional. Here are the 2 course options. I've been to the workshop, so I'll do the short version. These are the modules I need to complete. After you start the course, you just need to read through the instructions on each page, watch the videos, and then click the next module. On the welcome page, you can download your Plan for Success Word document. This is where you'll type your vision, values, skills, and action statements. It looks a little daunting, but the course takes you through it step by step. Also, you don't have to go through the whole course all at once. When you need to take a break, click exit and you can see which modules you've completed. At the end of the course, you'll be able to upload your completed Edge4Vets plan. To do this, click Upload Now, choose a file, then you browse to where your plan Word document is. Click Open, and then Submit. When it's done uploading, it'll look like this, and you can click Done. I think the best part of this course is that the Edge4Vets team takes the time to look at your plan to help you make it as good as it can be. I can tell I'm done with the course because each module has a green check mark. I'm still waiting for my plan to be reviewed, so that one is orange. You'll get an email when they're done reviewing your plan. Log back in, and it'll show you've completed the course. Click Achievements, and you can download and print your certificate. In my opinion, the Edge4Vets course is worth your time, and it'll give you the advantage that you need to find the job and career you deserve.
Okay, great. So we're getting ready to wrap up. Now, somebody had their hand up and asked, they wanted a question for me before I conclude. Is there somebody?
That was me, Tom.
Okay, go ahead, Ann.
My quick question was, as I listened to Mr. Ellis and Mr. Jacobs about, things they've done, and as well as myself, and then, some of us having degree in different areas. And to be more specific, I have a business degree and master's in business. My concentration was in HR, but I found that I wasn't in that particular area. And I was in operations, more overall logistics, things like that. And actually graduated from military police school in Anniston, Alabama, before they closed that post. So in having a variety of things and choosing which is the best fit and what you like to do, because when I came out of service, of course you have to take a job to take care of your family and, different things that were going on, and to basically live, and not being able to find a job in the field that you actually like to do. Can you pinpoint those things to, I guess you understand what I'm saying, to pick
No, I
out
do.
more?
No, and you're spot on as I get ready to wrap up today, because you just saw the plan for success and the vision statement, and getting that clarity on exactly where you want to aim is step one in that process. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to send everybody access. It's going to take about 24 hours to get, all of that sorted out and send you the access to the online course. But I will resend you that video so you can see how it works. And I will and I'll send you a sample. We had a vet who got a job using his plan for success, and he said, I can use it. So I'll send you a sample of what a successful plan for success looks like, and you can use that as a guide. But you're going to find, I think, Ann, that by doing the process, and you'll have 2 weeks to do it at your own pace, certainly not going to take that long, but you can, as much time as you put into it, the more value you get out of it. So, you're going to have 2 weeks to do, and then bring a draft of it to the workshop next week. And you heard from Jessica earlier that we're going to be providing you with support, that when you apply, the airport's going to know who the Edge4Vets participants are, and, seek to help you match up to where a fit can be for you. So again, I just want to wrap up by saying the value that we seek to bring to you is, in a world where so much is done online and you can apply and maybe never hear back. In this case, you're getting decision makers on the other side who know you and your meeting, and they're going to have an ability to provide connections so you don't fall in the cracks. And you'll have that process to explore through what your skills and interests are and match them up to where the jobs are. That's the exciting piece, and that's the work ahead for us, and that's the work ahead for us with all of you. So my word in closing today is Zoom number 1 was all about the preparation. By the way, when I send you the access to the online course, I talked to Allison about this, and she would like to actually see some of your resumes in advance of October 20th. So when I send you the access to the online course, you can reply to my email and send me a copy of your resume, and then I'll work with Allison. So in advance of October 20th, the folks on the hiring side can be looking, for example, Ann, at what you've done and what your skills and interests are, and be giving even some thought to that before we do the formal matching. So today was all of the prep. You're going to get the access to the online course. Then number 2 is 2 weeks from now, we're going to invite you back to listen to the airport. I'm going to turn the floor over to Natasha and Allison and Jessica to lay out the job opportunities that exist, lay out the process for applying. Again, our interest is to set this up so you don't fall in the cracks, so that you get people on the other end to take an interest in you. And for our folks at NC Works, as you work with your vets in the community, you can let them know that that is, Gabby, for you and your team, Walter, that is what we're seeking to provide here, that we provide this support that gives them prep to translate the skills, which we've talked about enormously today at great length, then a plan for success process to work at their own pace, but then the connection piece to a real person at the other end. And so that's what makes Edge4Vets unique, and that's what we seek to do. Bookends, pipeline in, course, connection to the hiring managers on the other side. So anybody, by the way, who did not go to the chat and put your name and email, I would invite you to do that before we close this out, just so that we can have you and make sure that we can correspond with you. What I'd like to do for Matt, Allison, I'm going to follow up with you on Matt. He had some specific questions, related to 139 and other kinds of stuff. I'm going to work with Matt to get his, specific question, and then we'll connect in and get him his answer. For everybody else, what I'm going to ask you to do is, today was the starting gun. As you saw on the website, you get in the game, we'll get you in the door. But getting in the game, you started today. You gave up 90 minutes, you invested in yourself, and really look at it that way. You invested in identifying and getting clarity on what your skills and interests are. And now you have a chance to put those into a formal plan, and then you'll have an opportunity to see how they can match up to actual job opportunities. And then the back end, of course, as you saw with that vet at Houston, we'll do success stories on those folks who find connection. So I'll just close by saying there's nobody who can guarantee anybody a job, but and I will, if Natasha's still there, I'll turn it over to her to underscore the airport has a strong interest in accelerating veterans into the workforce as the airport rebuilds. And that was our purpose today, to get you started on that process. If Natasha is still there, you're the head of the HR department. If you would like to just underscore the airport's commitment to them, then we'll get everybody going on their plan for success and see everybody in 2 weeks again.
Well, Tom, you've said it just so well. I don't think that I could even beat what you just shared. But I wanted to take the time to really thank everyone for taking the time to just learn about the program. As Tom shared, we are committed to all of you and all of the work that has been put forth for the next couple of weeks. And I'm just looking forward to getting to know everyone on the call more. And, during the next call, we plan on having some of our hiring managers available to meet all of you. But again, I just wanted to say thank you. And I'm looking forward to what's to come for each and every one of you.
Thank you, Natasha, for your leadership, for your team's leadership, for the airport's leadership on this. I can tell you, just in my relating to people, because we've done some, advanced work calls in advance of the workshop, this is a very, very talented group you've got. And I'm hopeful that we can, get some of these folks matched up and get them on the way to aviation careers. So again, thank you everybody for participating. Allison, I'm going to follow up with you in person. And Matt, I'm going to follow up with you too. I want to get you the answer to your question. So thank you everybody, and look forward to seeing you October 20th. The Zoom link that you use today will get you in on October 20th as well. So we'll see you October 20th. And look for your email in the next 24 hours with a link to the online course. Thank you, everybody.